What's up, you guys? My name is Aubrey, this is HP, and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we're actually going to be doing something a little bit different than normal. It is a rainy day here in Dallas, and because of that, we are going to, instead of doing our normal vlog style content, we're going to actually be breaking down this new Turo host incentive. Last week, and we mentioned it in a video last week, Turo announced that they are doing a host incentive that could allow for some hosts to claim up to $2,000 per car that they list on Turo. But the details of this host incentive was recently announced, and let's just say it is a little misleading. So we're going to be breaking down exactly what this means, how much you can actually expect to earn, and whether or not this is an incentive that's worth taking advantage of. So let's get started. So we come to you from our home office. Now, I know that this is very different as this channel is supposed to be vlog style content, and I actually had plans to construct this video more like a vlog style, but because it's raining and I wanted to get this video out as soon as possible because this information is so relevant right now, we decided to just do it in our office instead. But as you guys know, or as you guys maybe don't know, Turo recently released a newsletter stating that they were going to be doing a host incentive for hosts, promoting just the incentive for them to join and list new cars. This is, of course, in response to the fact that Turo is booming right now, car sharing is booming, and the reason why car sharing is booming, and Turo specifically, is because of the rental car shortage. As you guys remember, last year with COVID, a lot of car rental companies, Hertz, Avis, Budget, they sold their cars, and as a result, now that travel is resuming, there's not enough rental cars to go around.
In addition to that, the used car market is like booming right now, but it's really hard to get used cars because they're so expensive. So this is Turo's push to try to get cars on their platform.
Yeah, so all of these things combined has made it so that Turo is finally doing this host incentive. And there's a few big pieces of the puzzle with this host incentive. So they've advertised, and I have my computer here for notes, they've advertised this as their biggest push for hosts ever, that they are really wanting to give back to the host, which of course, longtime hosts like ourselves that have been with the platform since 2017 can certainly appreciate that. But there's one big piece of this puzzle that I think is really, really misleading. And unfortunately, it's the piece of the puzzle that both HP and I were most excited about. So that's what we want to talk about today. So before we dive into this $2,000 host incentive, let's first talk about what they've included in this host push that they're advertising, this $30 million valued host push. Number one is the fact that they are raising the percentage that the host receives by 5%. So for example, we are on the 70% plan, so now we will be on the 75% plan. Our insurance protection isn't going to change. We're essentially getting 5% more than we were receiving before for doing nothing else.
And this is going to be applicable to most host protection packages as well.
Yeah, so for example, if you were on the 80% plan, you received 80% of the earnings, now you'll receive 85. If you were on the 70, you're now on the 75, 75, 80, and so on and so forth. I believe the only protection package where this isn't applicable is either the 60 or 65% plan. And I will include a link to this page down in the description below so that you can check it out if you would like. In addition to the protection plan increases, they're also giving hosts more money through deliveries. This is, of course, meaningless to HP and I because we don't do deliveries, we never have, but good news for those of you that do. So last week, Turo advertised this $2,000 bonus, and they specifically bolded the up to portion of the bonus. Now, this was advertised to be an incentive to get people to list their cars, almost certainly a push to get people to list their cars to kind of offset the costs of the fact that cars are more expensive and all those sorts of things. Now, this was something that we were super pumped about because we're looking to expand our fleet anyways. We were looking to add about between 5 and 10 cars between now and the end of the year, which means that if that was to happen, we could have theoretically received between $10,000 and $20,000 for these cars. I had to check the math on that one in my head. But they did release this information over the last roughly 24-hour time period, and it is a bit misleading. So the way that Turo advertises this is the exact verbiage from the site. For each car you add to your portfolio of up to 5 cars, we'll give you an earnings boost of up to $2,000 on top of the earnings that specific car generates from July 1st to December 31st, 2021. Now, this was something I was a bit confused on at first. I think that the verbiage is a bit weird. Maybe I just didn't do a good job comprehending it. I don't know if you found it confusing.
No, it's already looking pretty confusing.
So basically what that means is that what's going to happen is if you list a new car on Turo from between now, July 1st to December 31st, so between now and the end of the year, Turo will calculate how much money that car made, and then they will give you an earnings boost based off of the money that the car generated. But there's more to it than that.
And the Turo website says, add 1 car, we'll give you an extra 5% for that car.
Basically what this means is that if you only list 1 car between now and the end of the year, Turo will accumulate how much money that car made throughout this entire year from July to December, and then it will give you 5% of that in the form of an earnings boost. So for example, if you had a car and you listed it on the Turo platform and it made $5,000 in the second half of 2021, you would receive a bonus of $250, not $2,000.
Now it goes on to say right below that, add a second car and we'll give you an extra 7.5% for that second car.
So under the same thought process, it's saying that for that second car, it will accumulate how much money that car made in 2021, the second half, and it will give you a 7.5% earnings boost of that amount. So using that same $5,000 example, if you were to have a second car that you listed on the platform that made $5,000, and you would get a 7.5% earnings boost, which comes out to $375 total. So if you were to have 2 cars listed, you would get a $250 bonus for the first car, $375 for the second.
It goes on to say right below that in continuation, if you add a third car, they'll give you 10% for that third car. They'll give you an extra 12.5% for that fourth car, and then an extra 15% for that last 5th car.
So using that same math of $5,000 per car under the circumstances, you would get an earnings boost of $500 for the third car, $625 for the fourth car, and $750 for the 5th car. Turo did also provide like an earnings graph of what this will look like under the context of a car making $10,000 and under the context of a car making $20,000. And so I will include that here as well for your reference. But there's a lot of flaws with this kind of entire claim, this entire incentive, and we both have a lot of thoughts about it.
Now there's a couple of stipulations to this as well. You have to have at least 20 trips per vehicle in this time frame, and you also have to be an all-star host.
Which isn't a big deal, but like we're an all-star host. In our experience, being an all-star host isn't that difficult. Like you really don't have to put a whole lot of effort in order to become one, but you do have to be one. And so if you are not an all-star host, then you're not able to take advantage of this, which is big for those of you who are not a part of Turo currently. Meaning that if you have never joined Turo before and this incentive is wanting to push you into the right direction of joining, you could potentially not even be able to take advantage of this incentive because you typically do have to have trips under your belt in order to become an all-star host. And all-star host evaluations only take place every quarter. So I don't really know exactly how Turo is going to navigate that waters. Like as long as you sign up by July 1st, you get to take advantage of it in this 3rd quarter. I don't really know how that's going to work. But the evaluation for this past quarter is currently going on, which means that the next evaluation won't happen until the end of the 3rd quarter, which is going to be halfway through this host incentive.
So this is very obtainable if you have high-end luxury vehicles in your fleet. You can definitely earn up to that $2,000, but using our business model where we have cheaper listed cars, it's not that obtainable.
Now I did the math on this, and in order for you to be able to take advantage of the $2,000 per car for every car, you would have to generate more than $40,000 in this 6-month period of time for that first car. And you would be able to reach that goal by generating a little bit less in revenue for the 2nd through the 5th vehicles, but you would still have to have really, really high performing cars. Now, this is of course not impossible, but it's very unlikely. Now, I know of hosts, we aren't one of them to be fully transparent, that make $40,000 per month. I know of a number of hosts that do, but making $40,000 per month on one single vehicle is very, very hard. And in order to be able to get this $2,000 incentive for all 5 of your vehicles, you would have to be able to show those numbers. And so in my opinion, I don't think that there's a single person that is going to reach that $2,000, $10,000 cap. I don't see it happening. I think that you could on that 4th and 5th vehicle, maybe even the 3rd, but I just feel as though the way that Turo has kind of outlined and promoted this incentive is very misleading, because it's going to be very, very difficult for anybody to take advantage of the full 10,000 because of the way that they've structured the incentive.
Now, on that basis of the example using earlier, where if each car earned $5,000 and accumulated all of that for each vehicle with that percentage that Turo was going to offer, yeah, you could make up to $2,500 in total. So not really $2,000 per car. It definitely isn't up to $2,000 per car.
Now, ultimately, I guess I can't really dog on Turo a ton for the way that they advertise this incentive, because they made it very, very clear that it was up to $2,000. And I think that it's a bit naive of HP and I, as well as many hosts that I've talked to, who were a bit eager to say, oh, we get $2,000 per vehicle, I'm gonna buy 10 vehicles this year, that's $20,000 right there. I think that was probably a bit naive for HP and I to even have that cross our mind, and it totally did. And so I'm not surprised that this is the approach that Turo has taken, but I would say, a little bit disappointed. And so here's kind of our plan moving forward through the rest of 2021 and how this host incentive program has kind of pushed us in one direction or the other.
Ultimately, this really doesn't change a lot for us, as we're already planning to buy a lot of these cars. So we're still going to purchase the vehicles that we're going to purchase, but I think we're just not going to be able to take advantage of the full $2,000 per car like Turo has, advertised.
And so ultimately with us, the plan hasn't changed. For us, the host incentive was something that was a huge bonus. We were already planning on growing. It was already in the cards for us that it was like just an added bonus. It was icing on the cake. And so the fact that this incentive is kind of falling short from our expectations, it doesn't change anything, because we are already going to grow even without the host incentive. Ultimately, when it comes to our advice for you guys, I don't think that you should grow exclusively because of this host incentive. I don't think that you shouldn't grow because of the host incentive maybe fell short of expectation. I ultimately think that this is just simply what it is. It's icing on the cake. It's an added bonus. I don't think it should persuade you one way or the other. If you're planning to grow, then go ahead and grow. If you wanted to call it quits, then go ahead and call it quits.
Ultimately, this really just hasn't changed a lot for us. We're still going to grow to 20 cars like we initially intended to. I think this will just, like Aubrey said, be a little bit of icing on the cake. I think Turo's marketing people really just got us with the bold fine print this time.
Yeah, they did. They did for sure. But with that being said, you guys, like always, if you are interested in checking out our journey and growing to 20 cars, then make sure to subscribe. Make sure to hit the notification bell so that you don't miss a single video. We have hopefully a new car video coming next week. We are gonna look at a new car very soon. We're just waiting for the final numbers to come in. And we also have some pretty big progress on the van. HP has been working on the van like a dog the last couple of days, and he has made some really good progress. We are super excited to show you guys. But like always, if you have any questions, comments, if you have anything to add, make sure to leave a comment down below. And while you guys are at it, make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, and we will see you guys in the next video.